For decades, the ideal family garden has looked like a living postcard. Perfectly spaced rows of vegetables, crisp edges, and immaculate bare earth completely free of weeds. But maintaining that aesthetic requires absolute vigilance. It means spending your weekends on your knees pulling stubborn weeds, hauling hoses to keep soil damp, and ripping out every dead stem the moment a harvest ends. This obsession with neatness has its roots in industrial agriculture, where heavy plows are used to aggressively till the land, overturning the topsoil to create a blank, debris-free canvas every single spring. The problem is that wild ecosystems do not function this way. In nature, a vast expanse of exposed, tilled topsoil is an ecological wound. The earth actively races to cover itself with whatever vegetation it can grow. Left exposed, moisture evaporates rapidly under the sun. The structural integrity of the dirt collapses, leading to severe erosion and a heavy reliance on constant manual watering. The exhaustion that gardeners feel by late August is the physical, caloric cost of actively fighting established ecological laws. Consider how a forest functions. Nobody tills the soil, nobody pulls weeds, and nobody applies synthetic fertilizer. Dead leaves and organic matter simply fall to the ground and decay in place. In the 1950s, a gardener named Ruth Stout decided to stop fighting her soil and replicate this natural cycle. She threw away her shovel and abandoned digging entirely. Instead of meticulously clearing old plants, she began covering her soil with 6 to 8 inches of spoiled hay, grass clippings, and garden debris. Today, institutions like the Royal Horticultural Society refer to a similar practice as chop and drop. This thick layer of decaying material acts as a physical wall. Weed seeds may germinate deep in the dirt, where they are starved of sunlight and wither before they can break through the mulch. Simultaneously, that heavy blanket traps ground moisture. As the bottom layer of the mulch decays, it provides a steady, slow-release buffet of carbon and nitrogen directly to the soil microbes. By imitating the automated decay cycle of a forest floor, a gardener permanently eliminates the physical chores of tilling, weeding, and fertilizing. We spend an enormous amount of energy growing fragile annual vegetables. We start them from seed in the spring, pamper them through the summer, and watch them die in the fall, guaranteeing we have to repeat the entire process next year. True perennials, however, operate like wild plants. Crops like asparagus, rhubarb, and artichokes establish deep, permanent root systems. You plant them exactly once, and they yield harvests for 20 years or more. Then there are faux perennials, crops like cherry tomatoes, arugula, and miner's lettuce. While technically annuals, they are such prolific self-seeders that they can do the replanting for you. The mechanism here relies on laziness. By intentionally allowing a few ripe tomatoes to drop off the vine and rot in place over the winter, you automate the germination of dozens of fresh seedlings the following spring. Abandoning the obsessive need to sweep the garden clean at the end of the year turns a static vegetable bed into an automated, self-replicating food engine. The layout of a traditional garden is deeply inefficient. Wide, straight rows with massive gaps between plants waste valuable square footage and offer open lanes for weeds to invade the exposed dirt. A method called square-foot gardening solves this by dividing raised beds into tight grids. By shrinking the garden into 80% less space than a traditional plot, you can focus moisture and nutrients exactly where they are needed. Packing crops tightly transforms the plants themselves into a living mulch. As they grow, their leaves interlock, shading the soil below to retain water while physically crowding out competing weeds. You can stack low-effort biological interventions within this density. Planting tomato stems deep underground forces them to grow massive, drought-resistant root systems, while companion planting strong-smelling herbs alongside your greens naturally repels hornworms and aphids without chemical sprays. Intentionally crowding plants creates a structural defense mechanism that multiplies the yield per square inch while locking out pests and weeds. A garden managed this way looks wilder. It is carpeted in decomposing mulch and full of winter stalks, but because it utilizes 80% less space with higher density, it can generate up to 5 times more produce than a neat traditional plot. The traditional gardener acts as a micromanager, exhausting themselves to force the earth into a state of geometric submission. The modern lazy gardener acts as a biological conductor. Your only job is to initiate the systems of decay, reproduction, and dense growth, and then step completely out of the way. This chart tracks the resulting efficiency. As the system matures, the required manual labor drops toward zero, while the harvest yield continues to rise. True efficiency comes from designing an ecosystem where the work does itself.